Is it possible to make money when you only have a small following on social media? Well, we're going to answer that on today's episode of the Digital Wrap Up. I'm excited to have content creator Nate Frederick back on the show. He was actually the very first interview that I did on the Digital Wrap Up back in November of 2021. So it's almost been 2 years, and we spent some time catching up. He's kind of gone through a rebrand on his channel and all of his socials, and he's had a lot of success over the past 2 years monetizing his social media channels, his YouTube channel, all of that. So he shares a lot of insight into kind of the monetization process and how he's effectively making content, how he's breaking down different content boxes and containers of content. So a lot of great information coming from Nate in this episode if you are a content creator, or a lot of this even applies if you're a small business looking to step up your YouTube game, your social media, short form videos, all of that. So great interview with Nate. Happy to have him back on, and let's go ahead and jump into it. Welcome back to another episode of the Digital Wrap Up. My name is Riley, and I'm the host, and I'm the CEO of Hardin Digital and Design. Happy to have Nate Frederick back on the podcast for episode 49. And if you've been following from the very beginning, he was my very first interview for this podcast way back on episode 4, which was back in like November, December of 2021. So we're going to spend some time catching up with Nate today, just kind of recap everything that's changed in terms of content creation over the past year and a half, and then get into some new topics and kind of talk about some new trends and what's been working lately for him. So, Nate, welcome back.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Yeah, so in person, which is awesome.
Not on Zoom anymore.
Yeah, that's one thing that we've been excited about is having this new podcast studio to have people in, and just so happens you're back in town this weekend to do it. So
it's pretty awesome. It changes the whole dynamic, being able to actually talk to the person and not just look at a screen.
Yeah, it's nice, and it's nice to have the setup to do it. And, you know, we're trying to get more local people to come in and do it, and doing a bunch of other stuff in terms of maybe renting out the podcast studio too, which we've had a couple bites on that, which would be sweet.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
That's a really
so
cool
either
idea.
they use our equipment, we'll offer it up, like the mics probably they would use, and then if they want us to record and send them the file, we will, or if they just want to come plug in their own computer, they're more than welcome to do that too.
Probably even, I'm just going off the cuff here, but you can even do a whole series of, we'll edit for you. We'll do, that goes into your whole.
Yeah, we were offering that as well if they want it, but if they I know there's a couple of podcasts or people that I know who do podcasts that edit it and everything, but they're like renting out space at the Hamilton County Library and getting one of those rooms.
I gotcha.
And then, so like they're always moving their equipment and things like that. So like they know how to do it and everything. They just don't have a space to do it.
That's cool.
So we're lucky enough to have this kind of space. I don't know what else we would do with it. It's just a little room in the office, but
that's neat.
Yeah, so a lot of cool things happening here. Hopefully we get some bites on that. So first off, just wanted to kind of catch up. Last time we talked about, I guess before we even do that, introduce yourself and kind of what you do. There's so many different facets to what you do, from a content creator to your full-time job as well, where you're still, I guess, in a way, a content creator and kind of managing social and some other digital marketing things there. So just lay it all out for us.
Yes, for sure. So I start like kind of the hobby side of it is where I got into YouTube and social just to kind of promote a hobby that I enjoy. It's called LARPing, live action role play, super nerdy Renaissance fair type stuff, and I love it. So I got into doing all of the video content for that, kind of grew that channel a little bit, and have branched into trying to monetize my hobby so I can then travel and do my hobby more. It's kind of how it all started. Make some physical products, some digital products, built up the socials from there. But then professionally, I am an executive pastor at a church, and a lot of what I do, we've got like 5 to I think 6 full-time employees, and so kind of overseeing staff, and a big part of that is our content creation, making sure our logos and our branding is all consistent, all of our video announcements are consistent, who posts what and how is it going to get posted, and all of that too. So kind of the content creating there, and then team management a little bit there as well.
Yeah.
And it's been fun because the skills that I learned from my hobby YouTube stuff have transferred very well into my professional world, which is I didn't expect. It's like I picked up YouTube and the camera just because I wanted to promote my hobby and kind of get my opinion out there.
Yeah.
And then the skills from that have transferred into like very easily actually into doing different things we've got the studio at the church kind of similar to this,
Yeah.
and knowing what to do with lights and sound panels and what mics to get and how much should I actually spend on the camera, and then you get into the Adobe stuff and all the editing as well.
Mm-hmm.
It's been pretty fun.
So I would say, your goal was to make money off of your hobby, and in a way, your skills that you've used in your hobby has now made you money because it's part of your full-time
For sure.
profession as well. So a lot of things going on, a very big background in terms of you kind of have your hand in all these different types of digital, from YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, kind of everything there. I think one thing that we talked about on the first time I interviewed you was short form content, and that was kind of like when it was really kicking off. Well, TikTok had kicked off before 2021, but
full swing of things.
In terms of like Instagram had recently launched Reels, and kind of YouTube Shorts, I think, was just getting kicked off too. So how has that kind of continued to work well for you? What do you say, like, in terms of your content breakdown? Are you more focused on short form video, long form? Because obviously YouTube now has both with shorts, and obviously YouTube platform, you can post however long of videos you want. What are you kind of dipping your feet in more, or what are you finding more success with at the moment?
So shorts are more successful. Short views are significantly easier to get than like traditional long form, so short form, we call anything under 3 minutes, right?
Yep.
Medium form is that like 4 minute mark to like 15, and then long form is anything above that. My brain works in long form. That's the type of content I enjoy consuming. That's the type of content I enjoy producing.
Yeah.
So I struggle a little bit with short form because most of my short form is just repurposing my long form into, I have an hour-long interview. I'm going to pull clips from that. We've all seen that on social media, right?
Yeah.
And then pulling it over. Or the short form that I have success with is I call it the meme like social. So it's like the one where it's like Freddie Mercury singing a song, and it's the too late. It's like I'll throw the my wife says I can't buy.
One.
My wife says I can't buy any more garb. We need to talk. Garb is the outfits for the LARPing. Make sure that you talk to me before you buy your next piece of Renaissance Fair kit, right?
Yeah.
And then it's just the meme of Freddie Mercury singing "Too Late."
Yeah.
That type of content I can do on my own, and I'm okay at it. But the guys who go in, and ladies who go in and make like the specific short form, my brain doesn't work that way, so I kind of struggle with that.
Yeah, it is difficult to take, especially like a lot of that is you take a concept and you're trying to talk about a specific concept and being able to fit it in. I mean, shorts is only 60 seconds, so that one's really limited.
Yeah.
The other platforms you have a little more time, but being able to be that concise and really talk about something in 60 seconds, and that's a lot different than just, okay, now I have 5 to 10 minutes on YouTube to break something down or to highlight something, especially like when you're creating these videos explaining something or like talking about the outfits and the garb that you're wearing. Like, yeah, that'd be hard to even like repurposing your longer form video to breaking that down into a short or a Instagram reel or something like that. It's hard to do.
Well, and the thing for me in my professional life and my YouTube stuff are mainly like educational content, right? I'm a pastor. I preach. I don't get up and go 60 seconds, right?
Yeah.
Like it's 30 minutes. It's, and then same thing in my long form content when I'm teaching how-to videos. Those are some of my most popular YouTube videos. How to make whatever. That's a 15-minute video at minimum.
Yeah.
And you can break those down into a 60-second short. But those are just people, those are like whetting the appetite just
Yeah.
a little bit. And then it's the long form stuff that you have to be able to point people to get to the real meat of the stuff. And then from there, the how-to videos, we talk about this a little bit, the how-to videos then have affiliate links to the stuff that the products that I'm using in the video. And then it starts to, you get that snowball going from there. So you can how do you get someone from shorts to your long form? And then from your long form to whatever you're selling is kind of had more success with that than we had last time when we chatted.
Yeah. And so in terms of like, we're going to talk about some monetization and everything in a second, but like in terms of success on the platforms for short form, which one in terms of monetization specifically, I guess, and then maybe just in terms of overall views, because I know like for a while you were getting pretty good kickback from Instagram because their partner program, whatever it was then, but now it's kind of shifted to TikTok. But I think you're still having more success in terms of overall views on Instagram. So kind of break that down.
Yeah. So part of what I try and do is hop on whatever bandwagon the trend is at the time, right? So for a while, Instagram tried to compete with TikTok. And so they were throwing stupid money at even small creators. And I did that and made some bank from them doing almost the same content I was making on Shorts in TikTok. And the cool part is because it's all the same content. You just spend the 20 minutes making it, send it to all 3 platforms.
Yep.
But then what changed was when I was linking on Facebook or Reddit to the short platform that I'm linking to changes based on which one is paying me the most money at the time.
Gotcha.
And so a lot of that, all of the things I was posting elsewhere was funneling people to Instagram because that's what was paying me the most.
Yeah.
That's my largest following by 10x compared to all my other platforms. Now, Instagram isn't paying as much now, and TikTok is. But I think it's going to change a little bit going into 2024 as well. TikTok is trying to ramp up to become a YouTube with longer form 10-minute and longer videos.
Yeah.
So TikTok, I think, is going to start paying a bunch. But then YouTube, we were just talking about this off air, YouTube is ramping up to do more podcast stuff.
Yeah.
And so they're next year probably going to dump stupid money on that. And so like if your goal is to make money from your social, whether it's for a hobby or it's for full time, you got to keep up with what's going on and what platforms are paying you the most. And a lot of times they're like kind of gimmicky. It's like, hey, for December, we're going to pay you $1,500 to make content for us.
Yeah.
Sweet. You know what I mean?
Just run with it.
Yeah, run with it. And then all of your extra stuff, for me, Facebook and Reddit, goes to whatever platform's paying me the most as I continue to post my stuff weekly as it comes out.
Yeah, you really do have to adapt in terms of which ones you put more effort into or which ones you're driving people more to. But I think at the same time, you don't want to just be like all in. Like, so say TikTok's like, yeah, we're going to pay you X amount for these 3 months or whatever. You're going to get a crazy increase in payment for every 1,000 views or whatever it would be. That doesn't just mean abandon everything because like you said, it shifts so much. You kind of do have to make sure you're keeping up with TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, all of that in one because.
Well, something the last year I've been working on is getting my email list up and, get it actually robust and useful because everything changes so quickly on the social platforms. You could get banned on one or the algorithm could change and now you don't. And so a YouTuber that I watch, he said all your YouTube subscribers are rented subscribers.
Yep.
Right. Because if something goes wrong, YouTube changes whatever, you could lose. Doesn't matter if you have 1 million followers or 1 million subscribers on YouTube. If you lose that, you lose that.
Yeah.
And so trying to convert your followers into able to be monetized on their own and not having to use social media platforms to monetize them. So whether that's directing people to an Etsy store, whether that having the email list that you can direct people to future content on, making your or Patreon, right? Like those type of things. Making your audience and not a rented audience is something I'm still new at, but I'm working towards, and it's getting there.
Yeah, and that's something that's big, I guess, a big philosophy outside of just content creators too, but for businesses, if you're listening, you could have 30,000 followers on your Facebook page, but the second somebody reports your page and for some stupid reason that really isn't a reportable reason, but your account gets banned, what are you going to do then?
Yep.
Right? How are you going to communicate with those people down the road if all of a sudden the internet goes out or something crazy like that, where these accounts, I mean, there was talk about TikTok being banned in the US, like, and what happens if you were big on TikTok and now it gets banned? How do you transition those followers or that true group of people that are diehard fans of you to Instagram now, if they don't already follow you on Instagram? So everything that all of your followers are rented, like you said, the only people that you really own, quote unquote own, that's a bad way to phrase that. But the only people that you have confidence in that you know you're going to be able to reach is people you have emails for. And whether that's like you do a free ebook and you collect their emails, or getting them to sign up for your blog and keeping them that way. Like there's multiple different ways.
Right. Like if you sell them something, adding them into that too.
Yep. Whether it's Shopify account or Etsy store, whatever it may be. So
well, you need to diversify your income. Because especially like if all your money is coming from AdSense on YouTube, and then you get one copyright strike and they pull that video down and yellow flag during the review, and that review takes 3 weeks, and you lose all income from your YouTube channel, and that's your main income, you're out of luck. You know what I mean? And so again, I don't do the content creating full time, so it's not a huge deal, something like that. But for the guys who do it full time, they're like, okay, I've got affiliate marketing, I've got YouTube, I've got Instagram, I've got TikTok, I've got courses, I've got a physical product like a book, right? I mean, they've got 10, 11, 12. Like if you go and you watch on YouTube, these guys who are like, I'm making $150,000, $200,000 a year. You're like, wow, how are you doing that through social? They're actually not. They have 12 things that are each pulling $10,000, right? And if one of those goes out, that's not the end of the world. They can then do another,
Yeah. It is a kind of scary thing to think about. Is that like in an instant, your following could be completely gone. If you are just all your eggs in one basket, your revenue stream could be wiped out completely. So it's something, to diversify for sure. In terms of other monetization, how are you kind of driving, like we've talked about you getting paid with Instagram and TikTok even. What else are you doing in terms of, you mentioned the affiliate marketing with Amazon. How is that kind of working and driving money there? Because it seems like that's kind of taken off on a little bit of a scale
snowball
there.
Yeah. So the majority of my money comes from selling physical products for the game that I play. And so all of my social inherently is just directing people to the website that sells my product. And then from there, I have physical products, but now with the advent of AI, I'm actually doing some digital products as well. So, spend 15 minutes, make the thing. A lot of like what I am selling now is like digital files for cutouts for painting and for like if you're trying to do like vinyl stuff on a Cricut and that type of stuff, right? And so all of my social directs people to my store, which has my physical and my digital products.
Nice.
For me, Instagram was paying, $1,500 a month was their cap, which is stupid money if you think about it. Like if you actually do it to the max amount, right?
Yeah.
For me, that's gravy, right? My Amazon affiliates is gravy. And what I do with those, right? I make a video, top 5 tips to survive summer camping when you're LARPing.
Yeah.
Right. Here are the products that I'm going to throw in there. I make $100 from that video. I then take that money, I then buy something else on Amazon. Now I'm going to do a review specifically to that thing because that took off in video A. So now video B is specifically about that. And I make $150 off that one. Well, then I use that to buy the next thing to do another review video. And it's, that type of snowball to get going.
And can you talk about when you say you make money for the people who don't know, like it's not just he posted a video with this and you made money off of it, but like in terms of Amazon specifically, talk about that process. You put the links to the items in the description and then they click through, right?
Yep. And Amazon has a fairly strict affiliate program. You have to have, I think it's 1,000 subscribers, and then there's a limit. I don't know specifically what it is on your socials, but you have to have at least one social account or a blog that has so many views and followers.
Yeah.
So I actually got declined the first 2 times that I applied for Amazon affiliates because I thought I was there and I wasn't.
Yeah.
Then once officially I got there, you go to they just have a page, you find the product that you want to promote. They give you a link for it. You throw that in your blog, on Reddit, and for me, my videos. And then when someone's watching my video, they click on that. And the cool thing about it is it doesn't matter if they buy that product or not. If they buy anything on Amazon within the next 24 hours of clicking on your link, you get anywhere between 1% and 3% of that total price, depending on what it is. And if Amazon has any, around Christmas time, it bumps up a little bit and yada, yada. And so for me, a lot of mine, like I said, are how-to videos. So I make a lot of belts out of paracord, like weaving. And so I make a decent chunk from people just going and buying the paracord that I use. But then from there, they then click on the costume that they're looking at. And if they buy the costume, then I get money from that. But then they then go and buy their book or their whatever, that's the dog food that if it just is in that 24 hour,
it still counts.
It still counts.
Yeah.
And so I do this on my social media platforms anyway. I'll just be like, hey, I'm looking at, I love tents, right? Because it's a camping thing. And so I'm like, hey, anybody have any idea on this tent? No, is it a good one or not? Pose it as a question, put the affiliate link in there. People will click on it. No, I never heard of it. Or, yeah, that's great. I love it. Boom.
3 hours later.
3 hours later, they get on Amazon to buy something. It counts for me.
That's awesome.
And and so affiliate marketing is pretty fun, but it is, it's up and down. It's not consistent money, just like AdSense on YouTube. It's not, I wouldn't want to build a career around, I wouldn't want to put feeding my children on my AdSense or on my affiliate marketing, because some months it's really high. And then other months, like right now, we're in the dip of the summer. Summer is rough for content creators, especially this summer. There was an algorithm change for YouTube, and summer months are generally down because people are just out doing stuff. They're, they're not watching their phone as much. And so my money is down in the last 2 months, but everybody's money is down. And so I wouldn't rely on those two things. So it goes back to
it's a whole different world. Of having to rely on that 100% when a lot of it can be completely out of your control. No matter how hard you work, no matter how many videos you push out, at the end of the day, there is just sometimes algorithms change, and platforms are just weird, people are busy. Like when you rely on other people, it can be difficult to make that your full-time thing. You've mentioned Reddit a couple times. This is something that I've kind of gone back and forth on. Are you seeing a lot of success getting people, I guess, driving traffic through Reddit?
Reddit and Facebook groups are some of the best ways. There are a couple of different trains of thought on this, right? For me, I'm small enough that I want to get as many eyes on my video as I can, even if they're not good eyes.
Yeah.
Right. Some of the really big YouTubers out there, they don't want randos watching their video because they want watch time. And so they don't post on Reddit and on Facebook because they want it mainly to be their subscribers because they know that's going to be a better view.
Yeah.
For me, I'm small enough now. I go to every game that I play, I go to their Reddit page and I post my new videos that I make, right?
Yeah.
Same thing on Facebook. I go to Facebook group A, B, C, and D, post my video on my personal page, on my business page. I share that to these other ones, which then gets people to like that page. Same thing, I'm also playing around with infographics too, right? Posting those on those places.
Yeah.
And then people will come back and like my page, which means they see more videos, and it starts the snowball. And so I think it's helpful, but I'm also on the lower end of, I'm a small creator.
Yeah.
The big, if you have 100,000 subscribers, you don't need to be on Reddit. Your audience is big enough, they're going to do that for you.
Yeah. People are going to be posting it and talking about it. Oh, did you see this? And yeah.
But if you're a small business who's starting social media to help grow your physical product or your service, if you're a carpenter, go post it on Carpentry, Carpentry, or then go on. There's 6 or 8 for every hobby, every business that are out there. That you throw it in there. Even if it takes you 30 seconds to post the link to the video you've already made, and if you get 50 views from that, and one of those people follow back to your Instagram or to your actual page, that's easy.
Yeah.
It's a no-brainer.
There's so many people on Reddit too. It's there is a lot of untapped potential. There's each subreddit has different rules in terms of posting links and being too spammy and things like that. So you definitely want to check that out, but it's it's something that I wish I did a better job at keeping up with, like all of our YouTube videos, which are just our podcasts and things like that, posting our TikToks and things. I feel like I could probably do that. It's just, I haven't, honestly, it's been back of mind. Haven't thought about it in the longest time. But also in terms of your Facebook, I know we've talked about this a couple of times. Facebook can be such a hard one to get established in terms of just doing 100% organic, growing your Facebook business page, which is your content creation is your business page. But you've actually found a lot of success with just organically posting on Facebook, haven't you?
Yes and no. So it is for, I have been able to grow my audience with the people who play my game and my games, who enjoy my hobby.
Yeah.
I've struggled on Facebook to go outside of that without ads, right?
Yeah.
So if you're someone who goes to Renaissance fairs every year and you're looking forward to the Renaissance fair, my page is going to be great for you.
Yeah.
Right. And I can get you, I'll post it on, the Renaissance Fair of Ohio group, right?
Yeah.
And you'll see my product or my content, click on that. You like me. Great. Facebook is hard though. If you are someone outside of the direct niche that I'm trying to target to get new people into the hobby or into whatever it is that you're doing, right? Because if you're 55-year-old grandma who thinks Renaissance fairs are dumb, my content could potentially show up on your page because your grandkid liked it or whatever. Yeah. And then you scroll away, the algorithm's never throwing you another one of those again.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so it's good. It's hard. Facebook for me is the hardest one to grow out of all the socials.
But I guess I phrased that in a weird way, but like your engagement rate on Facebook compared to the number of likes and followers that you have on your Facebook page compared to the engagement rate that you're getting is like through the roof.
Yeah, it is. That's true. An average, like I use a program called Hype Fury, which is just
same.
It's just
I'll throw my affiliate link in the description.
There you go. It's huge. And so what this does is it's one of those things where you post what you want to ask, your question, your video, whatever it is, and you link all your socials to it, and it just throws them up on all of them at the same time. Super helpful. And it's got a bunch of questions. Like it gives you, hey, maybe you would like this or your audience would like this. And it's like it's a jumping off point.
Yeah.
And so I'll post those things on like Twitter, on Threads now, and like a couple of these other ones. And I'll get a little bit of response, but not a lot. On Facebook, I get 10x, 20x what my follower count is engagement on these things on a regular basis.
Yeah.
The hard part on Facebook is how do you get those people that are engaging to come back? That's where I'm struggling right now. It's because if I post a question and then Riley, you go in and you comment on it, that counts as an engagement. But then all the people that see that count as engagement as well.
Yeah.
Right. And it's those down here that are getting them to like the page. That's the harder part.
Yeah.
But yeah, very much so. Facebook is probably my highest percentage of like comments and likes and those type of things, even though it's one of my smaller platforms.
Yeah, I mean, it's what, a couple hundred followers?
Like 300 followers or something. And talk for a minute. I'll pull up my...
But it is crazy. But I think kind of going back to what you've said about Facebook groups and Reddit and even your Facebook business page is, although it's not reaching a wider audience and, captivating people from... Like there's not as much discoverability compared to Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and things like that. But I think that's where you're finding more of your loyal fans, the people that are coming back, leaving those comments and constantly engaging with you, whether that's turned into sales or email sign-ups or anything like that. I'm not sure, but I think you do have that kind of, this speaks to the volumes of maybe what Facebook is good for is developing those loyal fans or customers. Yeah. So
yeah, my page is currently a little bit over 300 follows, and my engagement rate last month in the last 28 days was about 5K.
Yeah.
So
that's crazy. I mean, you're posting consistently too. That's another factor.
Yeah, it is.
I always talk about the consistency of social or organic social is showing up constantly. But it's just crazy. I think when we were first talking about this and you were telling me about the crazy engagement rates, you were only 100 or something followers, but you were still getting insane. You're still reaching or getting, it's not even, it's like engagement is clicks, likes, comments, shares, whatever, and getting 5,000, reaching 5,000 people there, or 5,000 impressions would be impressive for
That's a page, that
a page
size.
with 300. But the fact that that's not even impression and reach, that's engagement,
Yeah,
which
that's
is
people
always
reading it.
lower than
Yeah.
your
Yeah.
reach and your impressions. So it's kind of mind-blowing to me, the fact that it is that big, but it speaks to you're creating good content. But you're not, I mean, you are posting some videos and doing that too, but just...
So and I can give you my strategy for Facebook for this.
Yeah.
I try and do 2 posts a day. One post is always a question of some sort. And what I do with those, when I post these questions, these can be like one from this week. What is your number one favorite event that you hit every single year? That is your must not miss event, right? It can be questions like, because this is like a nerdy hobby, hey, what is your favorite class that you played at the last event, right? These are engagement building questions. I then use those. If one of those takes off, that's a video idea for next month.
Oh yeah.
Right. And so I try and do a video a week for long form content. And then I break that long form content up into short form content, try and post daily on short form, once a week on YouTube is my goal. And so I have 6 to 8 weeks out on my ideas for what I want to post. So I can be thinking about them and get my hooks and all of that. Yeah. And if a Facebook question blows up, I know that that's my hardcore fan group, right? They're going to like the video if I am doing something so like, one was, what tips do you have for camping in the summer? Right. That one is good next summer. I put it on I missed it this year, but I'm going to put it on, coming into late spring next year. That's going to be one of my videos. Right. And so throwing questions on there, and if they blow up, making that into long form content. My other post is generally something random, whether it's just a meme, whether it's a video of mine, whether it's one of those Amazon affiliate links, whatever it is. That one is just something that's more of just a haha throwaway, and I'll get laughs. And those are the more shareable ones because people like those, but the engagement is down, which is like, because there's not as many comments. People aren't arguing in the comments, or they're not like, if I say, hey, what is the best class in this video game?
People are going to debate.
Yeah, right. That's not this. Yeah. These are like just the, haha, that's a dog in armor. Let's share it. That's
I
cute.
think that's more of the discoverability. Yeah, that word. That's kind of those there. Yeah. So you have the hardcore post for the loyal fans versus you are, I think, still discovering and reaching people outside of your 300 page followers by doing it that way too.
Yep.
So,
and so those 2 a day, I schedule those out on Monday for the whole week, call it done.
Yeah.
And just let Hype Fury do its thing. And Hype Fury is really cool on Twitter too, because if you have one that is, or X now, sorry.
Yeah.
If you have one that takes off, it will auto retweet and it's got a bunch of really cool tools in there that if your following is large on Twitter, which mine isn't, Twitter's actually probably my least engaged with one, which is fine. Yeah, it is what it is, right? Yeah. But I'm there and I own my handle. That's
yeah. So if it ever does go crazy, and I mean, I don't think it's going to blow up any more than it is currently, but if for some reason, if Elon does something crazy and everybody comes flocking back to it, you're there.
Yep. Which is hugely important for anybody listening to this, even if it's a dumb social media trend that you think it like TikTok, oh, that's just a dancing 12-year-olds. Okay. Go get your handle.
Yeah.
You never, like when something new pops up, go claim your handle. Even if you never use it, just make sure you have it so your branding is consistent, because you don't want Harden Digital here and then Harden Digital and D here and then Harden Digital and Design here. Like, if you can just get in and get them as close to your actual thing as you can get, it's huge.
Which has been a huge form of frustration for me is that our Instagram is Harden_digital. Even 3.5 years ago, whenever I first started the business, I got every single account just regular at Harden Digital, but I can't do it on Instagram. And I searched and I never found another account that was at Harden Digital. So either the username just got like banned, like whoever had that username got banned and they're just not letting it come back. Yeah, it was a ghost account or whatever it may be. I've gotten everything at Harden Digital except for Instagram, and it's at Harden_digital. And it really bugs me because I can't just throw up at Harden Digital on everything. Follow me on social at Harden Digital. So I always have to have the caveat, except for Instagram.
I went through recently and did a rebrand. tried to pull my
Oh, yeah.
YouTube and my socials away from a brand centered around me and more of a brand centered around a brand. Because like if you're Mr. Beast, right, you can do something centered around you because you're the one that is bringing people to the channel.
Yeah.
I'm not. I'm smaller, right? So I rebranded to, it's now called Around the Fire or Around the Fire Media. And the reason I wanted to do that is to bring more people in, collaborations, and do some more. I'm really happy with it.
Yeah.
But in that process, one of the biggest things was I would find a cool name that I liked. I would come up with a logo that I liked, and then I would search socials, and I couldn't get all of them even or this remotely the same, or it would be taste. So like, okay, how do I find a name that I like with a theme that I like that fits the core of what I want to do and fits me, and has all the socials that are at least relatively close? It was hard.
It is difficult. I mean, you have so many different things. So like outside of LARPing, outside of Renaissance Fair, I know you've talked about like even incorporating D&D, Dungeons and Dragons, potentially League of Legends, like all of this might fall under Around the Fire eventually. So like we exchanged messages, like how do you encapsulate League of Legends, Dungeons and Dragons, LARPing, Ren Fair into one thing? So when you think, Around the Fire, well, that's not necessarily LARPing, but it's kind of like
nerd adjacent.
Yeah. And like when you think about sitting around the fire at a Renaissance Fair or at a LARP event, like that type of thing, I liked the way you did. Have you seen any, like, I know one of your concerns was if you changed it from St. Godric to Around the Fire, all of your current followers, when they see that first post of it's now Around the Fire, you were concerned, are people still going to follow it? Are people still going to engage? Have you seen any drop off there?
I haven't, thankfully.
Okay, yeah.
And so what I did a build up where like I posted a week beforehand with the blurred out vision or the blurred out photo of the new logo on on all my socials, right? And I said something big news coming. And then 3 days before I did a less blurred one, and right, and then in YouTube, on the videos in particular, and I did a huge news announcement with the new logo.
Yeah.
And then the next like 5 videos after that had my face big in the thumbnail. And sometimes I do that, sometimes I don't generally, but with those in particular, it was strategic because I want people, if they see the new logo and they didn't see the social post, which is a lot on YouTube, right? The algorithm, just whatever. But my face was in the thumbnail, so they can still put 2 and 2 together. And it went pretty well. I didn't see any significant drop in it.
Good. In terms of content creation for Around the Fire Media now, have you added more? Have you changed a little bit? I guess has your strategy changed a little? Obviously that was the goal, but have you already started implementing some of that?
A little bit. So my goal is for me to produce 2 pieces of content a month. And then my goal is to have 6 other little shows, little segments by other people that I trust, that make good content, that are adjacent to what I'm doing, right? And so those segments I want to be more the 7 to 15 minute range, so that I can focus on my hour-long content, which is what I enjoy making. But hour-long content isn't for everybody. So I've reached out and I have a few ideas with people who are going to be working on some of those segments. And we're working currently on the monetization splits and how is that going to work. And if I edit, then it's going to be a little different than if they edit. But if they edit, it's got to be to a standard that I want, that type of stuff.
Yeah.
And so that's part of it. But then the other part, it's going well because I'm able to broaden out a little bit because always on YouTube, they say niche down, niche down, niche down. I niched way too far down and picked an audience that nationally was, LARPing, specifically foam fighting LARPing. It's like 25,000 people nationally.
Yeah.
That's not a big enough audience. And so being able to slowly take steps back to branch out to all LARPing, now to Renaissance fairs, and now going to be doing D&D and some of these other things. And yeah.
That's good. I mean, I know, like, thinking of it, geez, how do I say this? Do you think it's going to be hard to kind of attract new followers for those specific, like if you did D&D or something like that? Or do you think there's enough of a mix over that the people who have followed you from the very beginning from the LARPing would also be interested in the D&D? Or do you think it's going to be, like engagement and views and things are going to be lower on that starting out?
I think it depends. For me, I think it's okay because the niches are very, very close and overlapping, right?
Mhm.
So if I do, my main hardcore group that have been with me from the beginning is foam fighting LARPing,
Yeah.
right? And I make a video about Renaissance fairs. 99% of my hardcore audience is still going to like the Renaissance fair stuff.
Gotcha.
If I go a next step up and do nerd adjacent board games and D&D, right? That's still probably a 70% overlap. And so I think it just depends on, you got to know your audience and know what your audience is. Like if you're doing, I'll give you an example, okay? A portion of my audience is there because of my paracord woven tutorials.
Mm-hmm.
They don't care a thing about LARPing.
Yeah.
But they're there for my paracord woven tutorials, right?
Yeah.
My how-tos. So some of them are alienated from all my stuff anyway, except for the monthly video I make about paracord.
Yeah.
But they stick around and they watch that one because that's what they're there for.
Yeah.
Right. And so, and I just acknowledge that in some of my videos. You know what I mean? Like on my paracord how-to videos, I say, hey, my name is St. Godric. I'm a LARPer. I've been doing it for 15 years. Today I'm making a belt. And I just, and then from there I do the how-to, and I don't throw the LARPy nerdy stuff into that particular video in a way that I would, hey, are you looking for the best leg armor for your next jousting fight or whatever, right? That one I'll ham it up a little bit more.
Yeah.
But it's just knowing the audience for the specific video that you're trying to do.
Gotcha. So do you see, this is kind of a selfish question, do you see an expansion into League of Legends?
Potentially.
I think it's a bigger stretch.
It is. I think it would need to go, so D&D board games first.
Mm-hmm.
And then once that is established, then switching to video games.
Gotcha.
And then I think that there are other video games that would be crossover more first and then League.
Yeah.
I think it could get there.
Yeah.
But I don't know if it's not as easy as a jump as Renaissance fairs to LARPing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now where League's like 10 steps removed.
True.
And where Renaissance fairs is 3 type of thing.
Yeah. I guess I was just more so thinking of it as because like you play League.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you used to play a lot more League, I know, but like in terms of your just hobbies and passions, I was like, that was the next step is League for you, but doesn't necessarily make sense for your audience or for your channel.
Yeah.
So
Something like that. I've thought about doing a Twitch stream, a YouTube stream, and doing a separate channel for just LARPers play, right? And it's like, hey, I'm playing League of Legends in my garb,
yeah.
right?
Oh,
Or like,
yeah.
and then because then it becomes a, what's he doing, you know? And then it becomes but I wouldn't want that on my main channel because that content is so different from what the people are there for.
Yeah. You don't want to drive people away from it.
Yeah. And potentially doing something like that on a second channel and it blows up and then that becomes the main focus of energy and stuff is worth trying.
Yeah.
But I'm scared of doing it on the main channel and alienating the people that I
That makes
currently
sense.
have.
Yeah. Because you don't want people to, you put out a League of Legends video once a month or twice a month, and then the people who are LARPers or go to Renaissance fairs that don't play League of Legends, because you're right, I don't see a huge crossover there.
There's a little bit.
There is, but it's not
a
it's not
bunch.
that 70 to 90% that you talked about with
Yeah.
the others. They'd be like, why am I still getting
Mm-hmm.
notifications? This person, I don't want to see these type of videos. And then they either turn off video notifications or they unsubscribe or whatever it may be. So,
But like, I'm just thinking off the top of my head, I have no plan on doing this, but just off, doing movie reviews for Lord of the Rings, like those type of things would be relatively close as well. That's a content bucket that is
yeah.
somewhat adjacent, right? Board games is another one that's a pretty big crossover. Like there are avenues that for any content creator in any business that you can do. And if you want to get to something like what Riley said, that's 12 steps down, and that's just something you're passionate about and you want to get there, don't jump straight to 12, in my opinion.
Oh, yeah.
Because you could alienate your audience, stair step it. Mm-hmm. Step 12 is a 3-year plan, right? So what are we going to do to get our audience there?
Yeah.
And think of the content that is adjacent to you, but that is still stretching if you need a broader audience. Some people don't need a broader audience.
Yeah.
I do because I niche down too far.
Yeah.
But if you're a plumber, right, you probably don't need to go much further outside of plumbing if you're doing content on plumbing, or you're a chiropractor, right?
Yeah.
Because that's a broad enough niche. People are like, oh, wow, that's really cool.
Yeah.
You don't need to do that stuff.
Yeah. And I think it's something too, like from a time management standpoint, can you actually commit to expanding and doing all this stuff? Because you say, I'm going to start putting an emphasis on D&D, board games, and video games, but you're still trying to grow the main part of your page. do you have time to commit to that and still keep up with what's really making you money or getting you views and engagement? You don't want to but at the same time, you don't want to say I'm going to do League and then you post one video every 3 months or something, and it's
it
like
dies, yeah.
you might as well not have even started that. So it's interesting. I've personally, when we talked about this whole rebrand for you, and like I've thrown out League there to you before, but like expanding, because you've kind of talked about having a collaboration with other content creators, but like in terms of League of Legends, like I know Caleb's getting into streaming a lot, and he's doing well. He's doing well. I mean, he has a TikTok now. He on Twitch, he has over 100 followers. He has a couple of subs now, and so like he's growing.
Good for him.
Yeah, and he conveniently streams at like 12:30 at night, which is like when I go to sleep. So like I always am just laying in bed watching his stream just because I watch League of Legends and fall asleep. But like getting him, me, you, like other people, and doing I guess my thought was like, oh, around the fire, that'd be good. But like obviously like a separate channel of content creators there.
Or you just got it. So like one of the things that I do, again, branding and all this, right?
Yeah.
I do Friday Night Live.
Mm-hmm.
I'm currently doing them once a month, and this is just a live stream where I'm in my costume, playing whatever video game I would be playing on a Friday night, right? Something like that, and they're not incredibly popular, but I don't do them on a consistent basis.
Yeah.
Branching into, hey, we're going to do a Friday Night Live, 5 of my friends playing League for a month.
Yeah.
See where it goes, right? Because if not, the branding for that segment, right? And that's something too, for content creators, a lot of the ones who make big money on this, they have segments, right? I'm going to once a month do an interview. That's a segment. I'm going to once a month do a review. That's a segment. Another video. So you get these things and you're consistent because people like to come back and see the consistency for it. So if you build up Friday Night Live as this smorgasbord of whatever I'm normally doing on Friday, and that's the branding of that segment, that could work.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then from there, it could branch and do other. Like, I think there are ways to do it. You just got to be strategic about it. And so, like, I would want to build up Friday Night Live for 3 months before I did something like that. So it's a consistent week over week thing and yada, yada, yada.
Yeah. And I've thrown out the idea. I used to stream too. So I used to stream on Twitch playing League of Legends and for like 3 months. And it took off. Like, I was in a similar position as Caleb, had a few 100 or 200 followers, had a couple of subs, created I think it was before TikTok. Created an Instagram though, posted some videos. I had a YouTube. It's still probably out there, but like bringing that back, I've kind of explored and thought about doing that because I still play League of Legends and, recording a game and then just clipping it. Well, especially like if I used video AI or something, just uploaded that video there and it clipped different spots. I don't know exactly what Caleb's using, but he's doing that, like clipping highlights. I don't know. I thought about maybe reaching out to Caleb and see if he wanted to collaborate on something like that. Just starting another YouTube page from scratch would be difficult, but he's more consistent. So I would maybe want to see his goals. And Caleb, if you're listening, I'll reach out to you. But it is daunting, I guess, to get started, to commit and be like right now our YouTube only has like 15 subscribers. We're getting 30, 40, 50 views on videos, but only 15 subscribers. And ultimately I think the goal is monetization, but we're 985 subscribers away or whatever it may be. So do you have any, I guess, like tips or, I don't know, words of advice for somebody who's, I guess, use me and Caleb as an example of like how to really get started and like how to stay the path?
And so I think for YouTube specific, it comes down to really studying thumbnails and titles. It doesn't matter how good your video is, right? And I think a lot of us early on, we overestimate how good our videos actually are. But theoretically, we have a 1 million view video.
Yeah.
You have an awful thumbnail and an awful title, not going anywhere.
Yeah.
Right. And vice versa. If you have an amazing thumbnail, an amazing title, right, and an average video, that's better than, you know what I mean? And so I use, what's it called? vidIQ. They have a bunch of AI tools as well where you can throw in your what your video's about and the title of it, and it will spit out, here's 3 titles that are better than what you're doing. Right?
Gotcha.
They also have thumbnail builders, which I don't use their thumbnail builders, but I'll use them sometimes as inspiration.
Yeah.
I think another big one too is consistency and branding, and you guys know this, right? Same font on all your thumbnails, the same colors on all your stuff. I don't think that there's one particular formula for every good thumbnail has to be this, right? Mm-hmm. There's 40 ways that you can do them well. You just got to be consistent with it. So when people see it show up on their sub or on their subscriber feed, they're like, oh yeah, I know that that's Hardened Digital because I've watched 50 of their videos and I understand that, you know. So I think consistently posting for me once a week is my goal.
Yeah.
45 videos a year is kind of what is in my mind based on, Christmas and stuff. But 45 videos a year is what I want to do. I'm taking that long form, putting it into short form. Those roll back and forth to each other, making sure my video ideas are good. I try and script out. That's something that's new to me. We'll see if I stick with that.
Yeah.
It kind of goes back and forth.
It's tough.
But then thumbnails and titles. And I spend more time on my thumbnail and my title than I do most of the time actually filming and editing my videos.
Wow.
Getting it in, and I'll make 6 or 8 of them, and then I'll sleep on it. Thumbnails, and then I'll come back and I'll look and I'll adjust and I'll do this and I'll do that, and then trying to figure out what title goes with that, and then does that work, and then I throw it up, and then I wait an hour or 2 hours and then see what my click-through rate is, which click-through rate, if you're not familiar with it, is probably the most important thing right now on YouTube. It's more important than views by far. Views don't mean anything. It's click-through rate, and it is total watch time.
Yeah.
So click-through rate is what percentage of people, if they are presented with your thumbnail and title on anywhere on YouTube, click on it to watch your video.
Yeah.
Right. If you can hit 5%, that's making money.
Yeah.
8% is like you're going to the moon, right? Most of mine are between that 3 and 5%.
Gotcha.
So, and you post that on there, and then if it doesn't do anything for a day, go and change it, right? Like if you really truly believe that you have a good video, you gotta be honest with yourself. Like there's some videos you put out that are just stinkers, but you're just throwing. It's like, okay, it gets 100 views, no big deal, right? But if you think it's a good video and your click-through rate is at 1.8%, that means your title's awful and your thumbnail's awful. Change it up. Let it sit for a day. If it goes from 1.8 to 2, let it sit for another day.
Yeah.
If it stagnates at 2, probably change it up.
You can go
again.
back and change thumbnail and
100%.
title, right?
The big, if you go and look at a lot, probably not the biggest, not Mr. Beast doesn't need to do this anymore, but if you look at those people who are like the mid-tier creators, I'll see a video, they'll post it, I'll see it on my thing, I'll watch the video. I'll come back later that afternoon when I'm scrolling through and it's a completely different one. And then I'll check it in the morning, it's a completely different one. Like they're playing it to see what one is going to be the most, because if you can get your video to take off in the first 48 hours, that's the key, right? There is what they call evergreen content, right? Every Christmas, the top 5 lists for gifts and whatnot, like those are evergreen. Tutorials are evergreen. They're always going to give you views. But if you're making content that is trying to be viral, right? If you're a news content, or if you're something like a video game content, right? That would fall into that. You need to strike it, because that your YouTube highlight reel of League of Legends in 6 months isn't going to matter, right? So you got to make your money in that first little bit, and that first 2 days is the most important in that.
Yeah.
So change that stuff up until you hit that 3%. That's kind of my goal.
Gotcha. And I guess what I'm taking away from all of this is focus more. I guess not focus more, but even if you don't have the highest quality camera, the highest quality mic, or, the greatest video of all times, there's still things that you can focus on to really drive traffic to that video. And then as long as it's decent enough and it hits and resonates with the audience, people are going to watch it. But you have to get the people there to watch it. And that's the
first video
thing
I made money on was me making one of my paracord belts. My wife was filming it vertical, which this was before vertical was good.
Yeah.
Right. You hear me just in the video, the whole time. Right. That one was the first one that I ever made any money on, because the content was good. My production was terrible.
Yeah.
Right. But the value that was provided to the person watching the video, the thumbnail was okay. The title was okay. And then the value that I provided matched the expectation of the thumbnail and the title.
Yeah.
And that is what let it up. And now that video has more views than the super polished, well done videos that I do now.
Yeah.
Right. Because at the time, at the algorithm, when it hit, you get all of those things. Yeah.
Interesting.
Just start recording.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the big thing there. Is there a way to see, so like I have my YouTube pulled up. People can't see this, but I'm looking at it here, just a live demo. Is there a way to see click-through rate on your YouTube analytics?
Yep. So when you click on the video.
Yeah. Oh, you have to click on, not just, okay. Yeah, this is terrible podcasting, but
So go to your,
let's use a good one. Hold on. Let's use a more popular one. This one has 45 views.
let me pull the mic back over here.
Yeah. Okay.
So then click on analytics.
Oh, you click on the
Yep.
specific analytics for each
Yep.
video.
And then, so go to engagement. It's either engagement or reach. So your average view duration, you want that ideally over, just higher that you can get it, right?
Yeah.
Click on reach.
Oh,
Yep.
click-through rate. Woo, that's a solid 0.3%.
Okay, I wasn't going to say it on air. If
no,
you
that's
didn't
all right. I mean, I don't have huge expectations right
Yeah,
now.
yeah.
We only have 15 subscribers, and videos are getting 30 to 45 views. So, like, I know it's not. But I guess the one thing that I will take away from this for people listening is that I say, we only have 45 total views on this video and only a 0.3% click-through rate. But we have 1.9K impressions on this video.
What's your watch time? Go to overview. Watch time. Okay.
3.1 hours.
Yeah, 3.1 hours for a 30-minute video.
Yeah.
That's pretty dang good.
Yeah.
Right? So your watch time, that's a piece of advice. Watch time is way more important than views. Right? If you get, especially on shorts too,
Yeah.
but even on long form content, if you have 1 million views, but they're only all watching for a second, you're not getting paid.
Yeah.
Right? And if you only have 100 views, but everybody's watching the video twice,
Yeah.
you're getting paid.
True.
So your view, don't get caught up on your views as much. Get caught up on your watch time and your click-through rate. Those are the two things that are going to drive your success. Views are almost meaningless. Unless you're trying to get monetized for shorts, then you need 10 million shorts views, and that actually matters. And then you get into some like scummy, I'm going to play a 4-second video on repeat that has a bunch of
Yeah. Yeah, there's some ways to cheat the system there. But I think it is encouraging. I didn't look at this specifically, the 0.3% click-through rate and only 45 views, but there's the potential. There's 1.9K impressions, which means for me, there is that potential to convert those impressions into
That's if you're doing
click-throughs.
your job well, right? If you get the thumbnail and you get the title that is interesting, right? That's 2,000 people who YouTube has freely shown your content to.
Yeah. Which is more than organically posting through Buzzsprout to our podcast that goes to Apple, Spotify, all the other podcast players. That's hands down more than that. That's more than Instagram, more than TikTok, like all of these different things. We're driving a lot of traffic through Twitter and Facebook actually on this video, which helps. But, views from impressions, only 6 out of the 1.9K. That's that 0.3%.
Yeah.
So
I would recommend to anybody in your niche, go to YouTube and look at the other people who are doing what you want to do well. Right. So figure out what their thumbnails are, what their I have a spreadsheet, and I do this about every 6 months. I pull the top 10 creators that are numerically the best in my niche, and then I pull another list of my 10 like personal favorites. And sometimes those overlap, but sometimes they don't. And I go through and I make notes. I'll look at their most recent videos and their most popular. They're only using, and I'll make notes like they're using 2 different fonts, but both fonts are white.
Yeah.
There's other one down here. He does more like this one guy, Fen McKenty, the punk rock MBA. Great if you like music history at all. He's a music history podcast, right? And so because of his audience, is more neon colors, and he does kind of like the scene and the emo type stuff, right? And then anyway, find your niche, find the people doing what they're doing well in your niche, and make notes and study what they're doing, right?
Yeah.
Top 3 whatever is taking off in your niche. Make note of that. If you see 3 of the top 10 doing this on a regular basis, make note of that and do it, right?
Yeah.
If they're doing they take you and your podcast, they pull you out on Canva, and then you throw the black line around you. You know what I'm talking about? Some niches, that is awesome.
Yeah.
Other niches, it's not. Do your research and then,
Yeah,
reproduce it.
I was getting ready to ask that, like, if you have seen a specific trend. Because, like, I know you do that a lot, or at least, like, when I was on your YouTube a year and a half ago, you pulled me out, and I've seen that with some of your other videos. And I tried doing that. I didn't, like, pull it out and put it black or anything, but, like, I tried just doing my face and like, a blown up of me in the thumbnail. But then I was like, now I'm just taking it. Like my individual podcast where I don't have a guest, it would just be a different selfie of me. And I was like, that kind of looks weird. So now we've kind of just done more of a bold text, big text with some type of image over it or inside of it relating to the topic. So like the threads one, we just
through the logo.
No, we actually did like somebody had a picture of the Threads app open and things like that. So like relating that image specifically to it instead of just having me or Kaylee's face blown up. And, I haven't done the research to see if that's really what the industry is doing, but
podcasts are hard too.
Yeah.
So pull up Thorin real quick and pull up his channel. We'll do this live, guys. This is what you got to do, right? If you have a question about this type of stuff, go and look and see what the other people are doing.
And I should have been maybe like screen recording, and then we could have. Okay, so
THOORIN. So he's one of my favorite content creators. Yep. So and then go to videos. Okay, and then just scroll down a little bit. So this is a podcaster who does what I want to do with the archive, like my main segment that I do, my 2-hour long videos are inspiration from this guy. He's in a completely different niche. He's a video game historian.
Oh, yeah.
Right, which some people are going to laugh at, but it's there, right? Yeah. He makes bank, right? So I come in here, he's doing podcasts. How do you make thumbnails that are interesting for podcasts, right? Dark background for him, bold text, face of the person that's covering up the bold text. Right. And that's how he does his thumbnails. And you can see, and then scroll up and then click on popular. Right. These are some of his older ones. And you can see these are old and they're just the straight screen cap of the thing.
Yeah.
Right? But he doesn't do that anymore because he learned and he developed and he,
and these ones are popular because this is when he really took off. These are all like 7 years ago, which I think is when he really did.
Yeah,
take off. But now we're still not even to most recent ones. But I think he's adapted to what's doing big now because, he posted a video one day ago and it has 5.1K views, another one day ago and it's 6.3. And then, 5 days ago, he's already at 16K views. So obviously it's shifted from where it was 7 years ago to today. But
do your research. Find the people that you want to emulate. Figure out literally, I went down and broke it. Black background, big text. He had 2 different fonts. He took a photo of the person. It wasn't outlined. He blew it up so it's just shoulders and a butt. And I do that with the 10 biggest and then my 10 favorite.
Yeah.
Every 6 months and try and update what I'm doing and how. And then same thing with titles. I don't know if you can see his titles there still if you have it pulled up. He doesn't do the name of the podcast, episode 2. He throws in the controversial comment that the person made in the interview, right?
Yeah.
Right? Like if you're doing it with me, you could say, LARPer says whatever.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Hardened Digital, or what's the
Digital Wrap
Up episode 4. Do that at the end, not at the beginning, right?
Yeah,
which those type of things.
I did shift to that. So like when I first started publishing on YouTube, I did Digital Wrap Up episode 34 was the first part. And it's like, but then when you're looking and you're like thinking, oh, if people see that, they have no idea what the Digital Wrap Up is. Like I still had the title of it, the title of the episode in it, but I just had Digital Wrap Up first. And then I was like, oh, that doesn't make sense. And then I started switching to creating an online store - Digital Wrap Up episode 43. And so,
because like for this one, you could do monetizing small social followings with Nate Frederick, Digital Wrap Up episode 49.
Yeah.
Right. That is way better than Digital Wrap Up episode 49, colon Nate Frederick.
Yeah.
No one cares about that. No one knows me.
Yep.
Right? No one, you know what I mean? So
Yeah, whether it's the topic, like I do like, again, talking about Thorin, he has some like he has quotes.
yeah,
If I could redo everything, I wouldn't forfeit.
he pulls the most controversial line from the interview that he's doing, and that is the title.
Yeah, it's interesting. So there's a lot more in terms of growing and really being successful. There's a lot more than just recording, but recording, that's how you have to get started. Yep. You just have to commit to it. Very, very interesting.
Commit to make 50 videos this year and commit to getting 1% better on every video. By the end of the year, right, your stuff is 50% better.
Yeah.
Next year, you're double. You know what I mean? Like you just, every video, I'm going to pick one thing, whether it's an editing thing or my script or my intro, my hook, my whatever it is. I watch my previous like 3 videos, figure out the thing that I think needs the most work. And then this video, I'm working on that. And then I do that, you know, in my prep, in my writing and all of that, I'm thinking about what do I need to do to get better this time in this video.
Gotcha. And while we were sitting here talking, I just changed the title of the latest YouTube video to give it a try. I mean, like we'd only had 9 views in the past 2 days, which isn't great by any means. So for me, it was difficult because we have the title of the podcast, which that's for the audio form that we published to Spotify and all of that. And my thought process is like, I wanted it to be the exact same on YouTube, but YouTube is a whole different beast. Yeah. So like, while the thumbnail, and like we have the title usually as the thumbnail as well. So like I wanted it to match, but I guess it's probably okay to be different than what the thumbnail shows. Yeah. Or
I will say, the podcasting realm is one of my least knowledgeable areas. I'm not sure. Yeah. I am assuming it's similar when it comes to titles and stuff, but I could be completely wrong on that is an area that I have not researched too terribly much.
I mean, so if you look at it though, this could just be from me watching it, but we have 9 views, but we have 2.4 watch hours on it.
It's pretty decent
compared to that one that had 45 views and 3.1 watch hours. So like,
that means the people watching it are watching a lot of it.
Which, again, could have been me or Hannah or Kaylee watching the full episode, and then so be it. But, it's kind of just a lot to break down. I know we were kind of all over the place. You know, I think we can save we were going to talk about some other stuff, too, in terms of your full-time position, but maybe save that for a later date. I think everything we've talked about, if you are a content creator, if you are a small business owner or somebody who's managing social media or all things marketing for a smaller business, you can kind of take away a bunch from this, whether you're just on social, whether you're on YouTube and social, whether you're trying to monetize stuff or really just trying to get your product or your business out there to more people. A lot of what we've talked about today can be extremely valuable for you. Is there anything you want to wrap up with? Obviously, promote where people can find you, but anything, last words of advice, anything like that?
So the last little bit, for me when it comes to social, I got into social to try and make money, right? And if that's your goal and you're producing you need to have one thing that you are pushing all your content towards, whether that is your website with your products, whether that is your website with your services, whether that is if your main source of money is that affiliate link, if it whatever it is that all of your content needs to be driving people to one specific thing.
Yeah.
If your goal is I'm just unless you're an entertainment channel, right? If you're an entertainment channel, and that's completely different. But like if you're a business doing YouTube for the first time to make money for your business, make sure you're funneling people to your website or to your offer or to whatever it is, and then make content around that pushes people towards that. Because if you have random stuff out there, you're wasting your time, and time is money. Right? Don't do some random thing that isn't going to direct customers to what you're doing. Yeah. I think that'd be my last little bit.
Awesome. Where can people find you? I know we've talked about everything you do, but throw in the socials. Obviously put them in the description. If you want to find more about everything Nate's doing, check out the description. But where can they
Around
find
the Fire Media on all of them except Facebook.
Ooh,
I know, which is just
Around
the Fire.
Yeah, we got him.
You did get me.
That's
but
good.
Around the Fire Media is
cool.
Is Instagram, TikTok,
YouTube?
YouTube.
Awesome. Sweet. Well, thank you so much for joining us. It's been good to we've had conversations, but for the hardcore followers and listeners who heard Nate talk, I think it was one of our most listened to episodes still today, maybe. But good to catch up, see everything you're doing, and glad you got to check out the studio while you're in town. So thanks so much. And we'll catch up again, talk about more here in the next few months. So
Sounds good, dude. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah. Take care.